Good morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Wednesday, the 14th day of June, 2023. Wednesday of the 10th week of the year, the 10th week in Ordinary Time. Coming to you this morning from the great berm that separates one of the boundaries of the parish from Leesville Road. It is the place where, come around over here, the great statue of St. Ignatius. St. Ignatius of Loyola is right there. And again, it's St. Ignatius of Loyola because it honors the first pastor of St. Francis, Father Jim English, who was himself a Jesuit and not a Franciscan. Again, after his time as pastor, there was a diocesan interlude, and then the Franciscans came. But we honor him in this wonderful little shrine kind of setting with a little bit of seagrass and everything else like that. Still waiting for it eventually to be kind of redone and put back together again. There are benches. I guess it was a wonderful little lovely walk when Leesville Road was nothing but a dirt road. But now that's become a major thoroughfare. It needs a little bit more help over here. It is a beautiful day. It's going to be in the 90s, so it could be almost a scorcher, but the humidity isn't up there just yet in our dew points. So it's kind of nice. There's the side of our church right up there, or the back of the church. No, side of the church, I think. Anyway, so today, on this Wednesday, the 10th week of the year, commandments. What do they do? What are their use? And that is something that is very, 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 very important for us always to think about. Again, there are 10 that are listed as commandments, and then it's like 752 laws in Leviticus. We never ever look at, adding that all together with 10 commandments plus 752 and make it 762 laws that God gives Israel, not necessarily Christianity, but that law that God gives Israel as it is becoming a people, as it is becoming a nation, as becoming a sense of getting a sense of identity and understanding of itself. These are ways to live in accord with what it is that God asks us to live and how God asks us to live. Many times commandments are put up. Again, we are always, as human beings, trying to look for the most easy way out of things, and at times our faith is incredibly easy, but it is not easy in those ways that we human beings prefer. And so we choose an easiness that is based many times upon law and juridical statements and legalisms and all kinds of things like that. And the 10 Commandments fit that bill quite well, which is again why they show up in courtrooms for some odd reason here in the South. But there are many things. They're sometimes odd all over the world. So, but that is not their purpose. According to today's first reading that continues the second letter to the Corinthians from Paul, because Paul again speaks of the commandments, as being more than just these things carved in stone, and that things carved in stone pass away, and they do, and they have in many times, but that things that come from the Spirit, that things that are prompted by the Spirit, are what are eternal and what last forever. And again, what Jesus moves us to is understanding the spirit of things, and not just the spirit of the law and the commandments, but to recognize again what is that force that causes us to become what we are meant to become. It isn't just laws. It is much more than that. It is what we experience. It is how much we are loved, how much we expend love ourselves, how much we give of ourselves, how much that we encounter the world through wonder and beauty. All of these things create in us who we are called to be and what we must be in this world, as witnesses of God, as witnesses of God's love and of God's care for this world. This reading is interestingly paired, with the other reading from the Gospel from Mark. I think it is Mark. Might be Matthew. I think it's Mark. Anyway, it is about Jesus saying that, do not think I've come to wipe away the law and the prophets. Again, he's not come to wipe away, but to fulfill. And that's kind of an interesting statement, because in fulfilling, things might have to change. In fulfilling, deeper understandings of things than just the surface might be revealed. And again, and not one stroke of a letter or a dot on a letter or whatever it is will pass away until, again, all of this has been fulfilled. Again, the law and the commandments, serve a purpose, but they cannot serve a purpose in and of themselves. That there is always something much deeper to which they point, always something much deeper to which they lead us. And that something deeper is love. It is always love. If it isn't love, it doesn't matter. If it isn't love, it doesn't count. If it isn't love, it will never work. If it isn't love, it is evil. If it isn't love, it is sinful. And so even our own laws as a church, or even our own laws as a community of faith, have to be based in love somehow. And if people do not feel love from experiencing the law, then that needs to be looked at. If people do not feel love from experiencing a commandment, then that really has to be looked at. We are people who are more than just beings, to be pushed around by laws and regulations and commandments. Some which come from God, most of which we come from ourselves. Remember, Jesus' greatest commandment is to love and never stop loving. Even when it seems difficult and ridiculous to do so, never stop loving. That is important for us to understand, so that the spirit in which God directs our lives may be lived and experienced and embraced by us. And in that spirit, then, our lives can give witness to God. A glorious day, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord always give you his peace.